Welcome to Hammer and Nails with Skip and Alison Bedell.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
Hey, we're back and it's Friday. That's what I'm talking about. The
Thank God it's Friday.
best day of the week. Well, for some people anyway.
Friday.
Oh yeah. I'm Skip Bedell.
I'm Alison Bedell.
And thanks for coming back to Hammer and Nails podcast. We're here.
We're here.
We're doing our thing.
We're queer.
No, we're not.
I'm queer. Get used to it.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. Whenever people say that, or when they say cheers, and then I say cheers, queers.
Okay.
Just a habit.
Yeah.
Old habits die hard.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for that.
So, lots of stuff going on in the news that I wanted to talk to you about because we don't really get a whole lot of time to sit and watch TV or even really read the paper. Well, we don't get a paper, but everything's online now.
I was going to say paper.
Yeah, I know. It's
When's the last time you had like a paper?
I know. It's like usually like older
a kid
people
riding around on the bicycle, like chucking the paper on your front porch.
Yeah, it's usually older people
paper's here.
that get it still. You know,
Let's
it's
go
like,
look and see what movies are playing.
Oh God, remember that?
Yeah, man.
All the shit you had to get from the paper.
Everything, yeah.
Everything.
Maybe one that sell your car. You put it in the paper.
Yes,
Remember
and that's actually I know people who have hooked up through the personal ads.
Really?
Yep, and also remember the phone book.
Oh,
they used to get. Remember, you used to get a phone book every year.
Yeah, it's like so. You know, every once in a while, I'm driving around, whatever time of the year they put them out, and you see the phone books laying in everybody's driveway, and the guy driving down the street, you hear boof.
Yeah. Now they're just used to crack somebody over the skull.
Big giant yellow pages book, 3 inches thick, laying in your driveway. When you come home, you trip over. You're like, "What is this thing?" You chuck it right in the garbage. You know, it's like who. Wow. Yeah.
Do they? They don't even do it anymore because we haven't gotten any, and we have a phone number through the Optimum, through the cable service.
Right.
So
I can remember back in the day, that was that's where I advertised. That's where everybody, you want to be in the yellow pages,
right?
You want to get in that big book, and I remember I paid extra to have a full page ad on the first page of the contractor section of it was you paid a lot of extra money because you didn't have to go through 30 pages. If you wanted to get a really cheap ad, you had a little tiny little business card thing, 20 pages deep into by then people already found somebody,
Right.
You want to be right up front, you know. It's so different now. Everybody's doing stuff online and they're listening to our podcast online.
Righto.
Yeah.
So what I did was I just, I look when you're busy doing something and I have some free time, I'm looking through the news and there's a whole bunch of stuff that you're not aware of that's going on in the world.
You've
been busy taping and spackling.
I'm convinced of that. Yeah, I'm in spackle mode.
Yeah. So, in the meanwhile, if you guys wanted to hear what was going on in the world, you can always check out hammerandnailspodcast.com. That's hammerandnailspodcast.com. Once again, that's hammerandnailspodcast.com.
All right, then. In case you didn't get it the first 4 times.
Yeah, that's hammerandnailspodcast.com because that's where you can listen to our podcast twice a week and also look at the summaries about what each episode's about, any links to any products that we talk about, products that we don't get paid to endorse. It's just because we really like them.
Right.
Not only that, on our website, but there's also an Amazon link. There's a banner on the home page. There's a banner on the podcast page. There's a banner on, I think, every page that you can drag up to your bookmark part of your browser on your internet browser. And every time you go to Amazon to shop, you guys can use our banner. And that really helps us out a lot. That helps us pay towards the costs of making a podcast. Bandwidth costs a shit ton of money if you have a long podcast like we do. And you try to have it, it's a lot of bandwidth, It's you can try to reduce the file size and make it teeny tiny, but then it reduces the sound quality. So
then you sound like you're talking through a clock radio.
Right, yeah. We're trying to do it the right way. We're trying to, we bought really expensive equipment and we're trying to have a nice size file and we have to pay for the website every month. It's expensive. So we're just asking for a little bit of help that doesn't cost you anything extra. However, if you do find yourself with a couple extra dollars a week even, you can go to the PayPal subscribe link on our website as well. If you wanted to give a little support to the show or show a little bit of love, we very much appreciate it. And as you know, we give you a shout out as well for doing so. Thank you very much. Skip's giving me the stink eye right now because I just swatted his hand. He is one of those people that has to always be doing something.
Yeah.
What were you doing? What is that?
I like to doodle.
What is, okay.
I usually have a piece of paper and a pen, and I'm like, I kind of like.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is that you were
I
doodling?
I make like a little, like, kind of like, I like to draw shapes and
okay. Well, what that is, it looks like a whole lot of nothing. But
this is
the reason I
like
smacked his hand,
starburst type of thing. It's
So not only does he like annoy the shit out of me when he does those things, like because it's like my peripheral vision, I can see him doing things. But usually the things that he doesn't realize are incredibly destructive. Like for example, the little star that he was just drawing on this piece of paper on the table. There's only one sheet of paper with one sheet of paper underneath it.
No, check again there, Watson.
No.
There's two.
We're on a wood table right now, okay, people? I'm sure you understand you got a nice, expensive dining table, and then you've got your 6-year-old drawing with their pen, pressing down hard and making the impression into the wood. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Well, then maybe we need to make figure out a way
to
make mommy shut the hell up.
And then you know what else he does? We have this really awesome reclaimed wood coffee table, which when he gets also like on the phone
I am scribbling everything right now. I'm going to like draw something.
He actually picks at any little piece of wood on our coffee table and actually like pulls it off so that he's like tearing apart our furniture.
Well, that's the whole idea. It's supposed to look like reclaimed, like rustic.
You ruin things and break
looking,
things.
Like it adds to the story of you wonder like, hey, where did that damage happen to that wood?
It's like he's not even conscious of the fact that he's actually creating damage. Because you just get so in a zone, like you're a doodler.
Yeah,
you're a doodler, but
I do. I have to constantly be doing something with my hands.
Not only do you doodle and you destroy things, but you're also the annoying massager.
What?
Like, sometimes he gets like on this thing like where he'll start like tapping, like tap, tap, tap. And you're thinking, oh, a little love, tap, 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 tap. And then he keeps tap, 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 tap,
what
tap.
Are we talking
Stop hitting me!
What are we talking about? I'm
Stop
tapping.
touching me!
Because sometimes I'm tapping on you and
then
you don't mind
massages,
at all.
His massages are like way too hard.
It depends on
hurts.
what I'm tapping you with.
Whatever. My point is that you like do things sometimes that you like think that you're being like, just like whatever, stroking my knee or something. And then all of a sudden, before you realize it, it's like, I want to smack you across the back of the head like, that's annoying. Stop it.
All right.
You get like lost in yourself. Like you just, I don't know what it is that you're thinking about that you forget what the rest of you is doing.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there are some people out there that appreciate very much me rubbing their legs.
I can see a star in the table. You made a star on the table.
You're about to see a star in your fucking forehead in a second. All right there, mommy. Now shut the hell up and get to your news because you're starting to piss me off. Good God, woman.
Aww. I mean,
I'm going to fucking doodle and you're going to
you
like it.
You can doodle as much as you want, but let me give you something to put underneath it.
You're going to compliment on how cool my drawings are. Like, wow, that's really interesting.
I don't care if you have to draw right now, but let me put something underneath.
And the fact that it etched through the paper and left a permanent mark on the table, someday you're going to remember me by that. Look what he drew. Isn't that so nice? Someday you'll sell this table because it'll have like my original artwork scribed into it.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
All right. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Someday
Keep
when
drawing.
I'm long gone, you'll be like, oh, wow, look at all that great artwork that was accidentally etched into the table.
You're really awesome. I swear to God.
Yeah. I know. That's what you keep telling me.
God. Anyway.
Do you have anything to talk about in the news, or are you just going to complain about me all damn morning?
There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of actually topics that we were going to hit because this weather is finally...
Spring has sprung.
Finally.
Oh,
I haven't done...
This is like the longest stretched out winter ever, right?
It sucks. I haven't done anything that I would have normally done because of both the kitchen renovation and because the weather has been preventing anything. Thank God I didn't start doing gardening outside and doing seeds because we've had so many lower than freezing temperatures over like the last 2 weeks. It would have like really been counterproductive.
I was in Depot the other day and happened to go through the outdoor garden section out there, and they had like some, as they do this time of the year, they put out all their plants and tomato plants and this and that and the other thing and flowers, and everything was like limped over, like hanging, like everything was like, it looked like it had been like flash frosted.
Yes.
Which is basically what it was. So they're chucking out the entire inventory into the dumpster and starting over, right?
I saw that at Walmart too with the outside garden center. Their tomato plants were all like flopped over the edges. They were just all dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why they just don't, I guess.
Wall
I mean, it's not like they don't pay people to work there. Why couldn't they bring all those things inside? Because the weather is predictive for the most part.
Right.
They could have saved all of those things.
Right?
Like such a waste.
Don't know.
Yeah, so I didn't get to do any of the things that I was planning to do. If you guys had listened to the early podcast, I think even when we first started, I was talking a lot about how I'm heavily into gardening now, mostly more so food gardening. I like to prepare for the zombie apocalypse and make sure that we're self-sustaining. And so I started really getting into that like more and more each year. And I started buying things that would help me grow things from seeds, because that's a big important thing to me, because anybody can buy plants started already at Home Depot. I wanted to grow it from seeds.
You've transformed yourself into like some sort of like farmer. I don't know,
Right.
between like all the different veg trucks outside, the grow lights inside to start out your seeds over the winter, like all these, you got like this whole thing going on.
Right. Well, that's where I was going with this, is that I had bought all these things because I did a lot of research and I was trying to find the best way to start seeds inside, because there's a lot of them that you're supposed to start inside so that by the time they get to a certain period of growth, it's nice outside. Then you transplant them, you put them outside. I didn't do that this year because the kitchen renovation, and it was just been a disaster in our house. Shit everywhere, right? Like we used to have that spare bedroom where we would like store everything like hoarders because we didn't have enough room.
Right.
And now that bedroom is
Now that bedroom is part of the extra large expanded kitchen.
right. So all the shit that was in there is now in front of our fireplace waiting to find its home once we get cabinets and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, we're under construction. This is
Yeah.
what happens. I tell people all the time, when you go through a big remodel like this, it takes months and months to do. Your house is kind of like in disarray for a while because, especially in our case, like we lost a couple of rooms to make one bigger room. So now, you got to consolidate your stuff. And I think it's a great opportunity to get rid of a bunch of crap.
Oh, I agree.
Everybody should go through their closets and like bag up stuff that you don't use.
This is the time of year.
Give it to charity, bring it someplace to the church or wherever like give it. Somebody needs that stuff that you're not using.
Or you could be like me and put it in a big garbage bag that gets really heavy. Go like to the city, take a train like for an hour, go to the city, and then walk to your destination with that extra heavy bag, looking for like a homeless person to give it to. Find no one. Walk all the way back to the train with that heavy bag, and go all the way back home with the same bag that you left with because you couldn't find anyone to give it to.
You took a giant bag of like
Scarves.
clothes into the city, and then you wound up coming home with it later on, like late that night. And I'm like, what the hell?
I walked around the whole fucking city
you're
like a bag
Santa
lady.
Claus with like a black contractor bag over your shoulder.
I came right back home. What a loser.
In heels.
Yeah.
In the winter.
That was when I went to the CNN building, because I was going to do. I was on Dr. Drew on call that night. I went to the CNN building in the city, so it's a good. It's far from Penn Station, and I could not find a cab for the life of me. I had to get like one of those fake cab guys that like charged me double with my big contractor bag. And then I get to CNN with my bag, like, oh, hi, I'm here to be on the Dr. Drew show. They're like, you sure about that?
Right.
Bring my bag upstairs with me to the makeup room. And then I'm done with it. I haul it with me back downstairs like a big loser.
But now it's like extra heavy because you're tired.
Oh, yeah.
So now you're no longer carrying it, you're dragging it.
Right. The fucking scarves.
The bottom of the bag is all worn off and it's like leaking scarves out.
And then I can't get a cab again, and it's freezing out, and it's like starting to snow a little bit. No cab, and I could either walk with the contractor bag. Oh, I found a pedicab. Yeah. Got into a pedicab with my scarves.
The dude on the bicycle.
He's like, dude, can you get rid of that bag? It's extra heavy. He had to pedal extra hard.
It's the middle of winter. It's like 20 degrees out. No cab will pick you up because they think you're some like homeless bag person. Meanwhile, you just came from like, being a guest on the Dr. Drew show.
I'm just trying to do something nice and give somebody homeless free scarves.
The cabs aren't picking up the homeless girl on the corner. Meanwhile, you're trying to find somebody to give away stuff to. In the wintertime, it might be freezing.
Yep.
We've seen plenty of them. People like, freezing to death on the corners of the city in the wintertime. It's so funny that the one time you go out of your way to bring all this stuff into the city, and you're thinking the second you step off the train, you're There's nobody
But
there.
and I couldn't leave it in Penn Station.
You know what it was? It was so cold that night that they all went into shelters.
Right.
And then the only damn cab you can get in for like 40 blocks is a fucking bicycle pedicab. He is still freezing. But now you have a bag full of clothes that you're not even going to put on to warm up because they're like for the homeless people.
Yep. And I couldn't leave it in Penn Station because, there are people down there just to warm up. But there's that whole... like if you see something, say something. So I couldn't leave a bag and walk away from it because I could get arrested.
Yeah, you would have been totally arrested. You would have been, like labeled a terrorist. They would have snapped on the rubber gloves and step into this room, please.
That would have really fucked my night up. So I had to go back.
Searching you for a hidden bomb
on the train with the same goddamn bag.
And then you took it all the way home.
Yep.
And you come back in the house and you're dragging the bag up the front. I'm like, what the fuck? You've been gone for like 10 hours in the city all day, and you have this bag that now is like the whole bottom is like worn off. It's all like scraggly looking.
Yep.
You're all disheveled and tired and exhausted, and you're dragging around this 40-pound bag of clothes.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
I would have had such a nice trip by myself to the city that night had I been like, without having to carry around that bag. It would have been like more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have to think about it at all.
I wasn't with you on the, was I doing something else somewhere else or some project?
You didn't feel well.
Oh, is that what it was?
You didn't feel well that night. You were kind of sick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I stayed home. Normally we travel and do things like that together.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, just think. I mean, I could have been carrying the bag and dragging it for you.
You would have been.
I would have been the bag dragger.
You would have been the bag man.
Yeah. Then you definitely would have gotten picked up on, by a cab because they would have seen this hot chick standing on the corner and they would have thought you're just standing next to a homeless guy.
I don't know about that because you know how many times we've been in the city and have nobody stops. Even their lights are on, their lights are off, they're on duty, off duty. Cab drivers don't want to pick up rides in the city.
That, like, cab drivers in New York City don't want to pick up anybody anymore because we're in the city all the time and you can't get a cab. We just call Uber now.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what? And Uber kicks ass. I love Uber. Stop scratching the table now with the paper clips. He's like sliding them along the table, putting the small one inside of the loop of the big one.
Yeah. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put the small paper clip inside the big paper clip. Yeah. I have to be doing things. I have to have projects. I'm constantly like
you can't just sit and talk and look at me.
No, I'm like I do this all the time too. I click the pen a lot.
Oh God! And what do I usually do when you start doing that?
I don't know.
I take the pen and I throw it across the room.
I'm like the kid. I'm like the little kid that you smack something out of their hands. Because little Johnny's like pulling on the curtains or some shit.
Yep, I'm the mom who smacks the hand, takes the pen, and throws it across the room.
Yeah, you're a hot mom though. You're a MILF.
Oh God! I feel what I was just saying.
Got my own MILF. Nice. All right. So,
oh God, that reminds me.
News.
I discovered.
Are you ever going to get to it?
There's other things I want to talk about first. Listen, I discovered something new about myself.
Oh.
You ready?
Is there some body part that I'm not familiar with?
Yes. Listen.
Oh God. The fuck? What?
The punching bag back there, the uvula.
Oh yeah. What about it?
I can't do it now. I can make it go like that kind of a sound, but with my uvula.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, good for
you.
My
mouth is kind of dry right now.
You'll have to try that out on me later.
Okay. I'll try it later.
Yeah.
No,
it's not
working.
Yeah, stop it.
I did it. You know what?
You're talking about me being annoying?
I
Are you
did
kidding
it the whole way home from work yesterday.
Really? That's
yes,
that's what you do in your free time?
I was practicing on the way home from work. I was like,
vibrate your uvula?
I've been alive this long, and I didn't know I was capable of making that sound.
Wow.
I was pretty impressed with myself. Like, that's how people make that sound. And I discovered it.
Way too much time on your hands. Wow.
Well, I was in the car, and yes. Hey, at least I'm not destroying anything. So anyway, what I wanted to say was that yesterday I finally put together, we were talking about this a year ago on the podcast when I had purchased the shelving system with the grow lights on it.
Yeah.
And it's to start seeds indoors. And that really helps because you're keeping it in a controlled environment. You get these little warming pads that you put underneath your seed starting kit, and it helps warm the medium that you're putting your seeds into. It helps start the seedling process so that it gets starts to germinate and it comes up. Right. So I set that up yesterday, and because I hadn't been able to do it, I was supposed to do it last month actually. In March is when you're supposed to start your seeds indoors, but because everything's been such a disaster here, so I set up the shelves upstairs in our cat room. I'm going to hope that they don't touch anything. I'm going to try to protect it after I do my
Good
seeds
luck with
today.
that. Yeah.
I'm going to
So
cover
think about
it.
that. You're going to have containers with soil in it, which cats just love. They love to eat plants and leaves and anything like that.
This beginning
I'm thinking
stage,
you're going to wind up coming home to a bunch of containers full of shredded little plants with dumps in them.
Well, 2 years
Cat
ago,
dumps.
remember, 2 years ago, the Hercules ate my tomato seedlings that grew, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this part of the beginning process, you put you put like a plastic cover over the little pods that you put the medium in.
Okay.
So that part lasts about like a week. It keeps it moist and humid. You put the seed in, you got the heating pad underneath, you water it, and then the seedlings start to pop up, and then that's when you take the cover off. You start to use your grow lights.
Right. And that's when the cat uses it as a litter box.
At that point,
And then you
hopefully,
wonder why a few months
now
later
I'm going to move it.
your
That's where I'm
tomatoes
going.
taste like cat shit.
What I ordered yesterday online was this little greenhouse kit. It's like a standing greenhouse. It's probably like 3 feet wide. It's probably about maybe 6 feet tall. It's got shelving unit in it, so I can move my stuff into this out. I'm going to put it outside, and I'm going to plug it in for my lights and everything. And the greenhouse portion should keep it warmer. And I'm going to hopefully have some success with that. So my point is that I'm starting my seeds late. And if you guys are into growing something, now is the time when you should also have already been doing it. But it's not too late. But you should also I'm going to direct sow. That means put seeds directly into the dirt of the standing garden that I have outside. I have a raised garden. It's called a vegtrug, VEGTRUG.
Put a link on that.
I was just going to say that. I'll just make it easier for you to show you exactly what I have on our patio. I've got 2 of them.
If you like to grow stuff like vegetables or anything at all, this is the way to do it because it's raised up off the ground and, it's definitely way better than bending over and having to pull stuff out of the dirt. So.
Even if you don't have a bad back like us, it just makes life so much easier. You can do everything standing, and you don't get that pain from bending over the dirt and just getting all dirty and everything. It's right on our porch and nice and
Bend
clean.
over and get dirty.
I knew. I was waiting for you to grab onto that one.
Get dirty.
Yeah. So I'm going to put today outside. I'm going to directly sow beet seeds, carrot seeds, lettuce seeds. And I've already got the strawberries. They grow back every year, so they're already starting to kick ass. The leaves are coming in nice.
Nice. Spring is here.
Spring has sprung.
Let's get growing stuff. Let's get outside and get stuff going. We got the outdoor patio and the gazebo and the bar.
This weekend we're going to put our gazebo back up.
We're going to get back outside and get our stuff going, and it's a great time of the year to get things, house cleaned up, power wash everything, get the patio, the deck cleaned off, and all that good stuff, right?
Yeah. I wanted to give a little tip, though.
Oh.
As I'm looking at my note
give us a tip.
It's a gardening tip. It's for people who are starting seeds indoors. This is something that I learned 2 years ago when I first did it for the first time. I got my warming mats, and I had you can buy from Burpee these what are they called? Like all those little individual spots where you put one of those little things that blow up when you get them wet. I'm just having such a loss for words today. Anyway. So when you have a grow light, you buy a grow light so that it's like, it mimics natural light to help your seedlings grow tall and get ready to go outside. I had bought the kind of grow light that was one bulb, and it was held up on this frame that you put together, and you can raise and lower the bulb as your plants grow taller. But what I discovered through doing that for the first time was that, and not being experienced growing seeds, is that different things grow at different rates. Like my tomato seedlings were growing very quickly tall, and my herbs were not. So they were staying low. So as these things are starting to grow, and I have to raise the light, I had to raise it higher above the tomato, but meanwhile, then it would get further away from the herbs. So I was having to tilt it, have it at a funky angle. It was different things grow at different rates, and you have to realize that when you start this, or else your system's not going to work. So what I did was I bought this other system where there's 2 shelves, and you can raise and lower the lights. There's lots of things online that you can buy, but my advice to you is don't buy a one long bulb system where you're going to end up getting all messed up if something grows fast and something else grows slow, and then your light has to get crooked. It's just a pain in the neck. So if you guys are going to be gardening something, just write to me and let me know, and I'll point you in the right direction, because that was learning from experience, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing until I screw it up first.
Yeah, and while you're learning from experience and screwing stuff up, we have a house full of gardening shit that you basically have figured out. Some works and some doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. And some of it, ends up being a waste of money.
Now we'll be putting it on Craigslist, and there'll be strangers coming to our door to buy some grow light. And
True.
They'll probably want to be using it to grow something else.
Yeah, that first grow light was actually fairly expensive. Those things cost a lot of money, so somebody would be getting a deal.
Weed with it, so
Well, not us.
No. But all right. So I think somewhere about an hour ago you said you had something in the news.
Okay.
Were you actually doing that today, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
After you got done picking on me and talking about your stuff.
He's still making the paperclip puzzle.
Look how cool that is, though.
Yeah, it's awesome.
The small one fits right inside the big one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how things fit inside of other things.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Anyway, I was reading that there's this Wisconsin teacher who had sex with her student, which is not surprising because we've already had this conversation about women teachers becoming very prominent having sex with their students.
Like a few times in the last year, right?
Yeah, but this I just like the details of this particular story, which is why I'm bringing
let me hear
this one up.
Juicy details.
Yeah. So she had this relationship with a boy who was 16 years old, a sophomore student in her English class. And she sent him over 1,100 text messages. Okay. Hello, evidence.
Way to document stuff.
And her yeah, exactly. And her little pet name for him was Baby Boo. And so she says, Baby Boo, I love you now and forever. Please be mine forever and ever. Always your baby girl. P.S. Good luck on your quiz. Smiley face. This is a woman who went through college.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Good luck on your quiz.
Good luck on your quiz.
Yeah, yeah. So she ended up getting, she's facing 2 counts of sexual assault of a student. She even met this kid for sex at a motel the night of her husband's or her now husband's bachelor party and sent him a selfie while she and her husband were on their honeymoon.
Wow.
Yeah. Most of their trysts took place in her car at a park and ride lot.
So she's banging this kid like as she's planning to get married.
Yes.
During her whole engagement.
Yep.
And even after she got married.
Yep.
Wow,
yep. And then I love this part too.
Hubby
Remember?
must be happy about that.
Oh yeah. And do you remember when Casey Anthony?
Good choice there, dude. There's a little something called an annulment. You might want to look into it.
He was right by her side in court.
What?
Yep. He was right there.
Oh, you deserve whatever you get then.
Do you remember when Casey Anthony's computers were analyzed and she was found to have been searching for, what was it, like...
How to kill your baby?
I found something with garbage bags, I think, or burying something, or... I forgot what it was, but whatever it was how the kid died, and she was researching it before the kid died.
Right.
Hello, jury of idiots that didn't find her guilty.
I was going to say, but she got off anyway,
I know,
so
ridiculous.
If that's not damning enough, I don't know what is. But...
I know. People are, oh, God, jury, your peers. Okay.
It's like you stab someone to death and they find it in your computer how to stab someone to death.
Okay, well, this rocket scientist of a teacher wrote, what's the prison sentence for a teacher sleeping with a student?
What?
That's what was found in her Google, in her phone.
Along with 1,700 texts to her baby boo.
Oh, my God.
What is wrong with people?
Right? It's like the urge, like she just couldn't control it. It's like, and I wonder, do you think that she became a teacher because she was a predator, like a child predator, or do you think that she just saw this person that she just had to have and was willing to risk everything?
I don't know. I
wonder what goes on in their minds.
I would tend to think that someone who would get involved with minors, that's in them, whether they're aware of it, it's in them or not. That's you got deep rooted issues that it might surface at some point, but I would think either she got into what she's doing in some path with that. I mean, that's going to allow her now to kind of be around these kids.
So you're saying that like her desire to be a teacher was exclusive of her need to have
listen,
sex with a minor.
It's kind of like every time a Mr. Softy truck pulls up to your corner, you got to wonder the dude that's reaching out the window and saying, "Would you like an ice cream, kids?
Want to suck on my pop?"
Yeah, you want to suck on my rocket pop? Now, there's a lot of things you can do in this world to earn a decent living, and driving an ice cream truck may or may not be on the top of your list of things to do. But I would imagine that along with other jobs that many pedophiles are known to be in, you would think that like they're probably gravitating toward things that are going to facilitate their desire to be around young people, right? So, what better thing to do than be like a teacher? You know, I mean, you're gaining their trust. You're getting close to them. I
can't imagine, though, that people would actually plan and go to the schooling for a career just to do an act that would potentially ruin their lives before it barely began.
Yeah. Well, listen,
I mean, she was well aware of the consequences when she was Googling how much prison time. She was like weighing the worth, basically. And well, if I'm only going to get a few years, I could do that.
Right. So,
and if it's my first offense, it'll get knocked down to a misdemeanor.
If she Googled that, right.
If it goes like everybody else's court cases.
Obviously, if she Googled that, she's very curious to know what's going to happen when she gets
weighing
caught.
It out.
Because I think that also it's no secret if you look into a case study, the pedophiles, many of them believe that they're never going to get caught. They're just going to be able to continue to do it forever. And then others know that they're going to get caught sooner or later, and they can't help themselves.
Their life is about working around getting caught. It's trying to figure out a sneaky way to get
it's
away
inevitable.
with it.
I mean, it's going to happen sooner or later. You push the boundaries, I'd imagine. So if she's already researching what her punishment is going to be, she must have made that conscious decision. Like, okay, well, I'm willing to roll the dice. Let me see what's going to happen.
And can I tell you something? Once again, it's a hot teacher.
Of course.
How come these teachers are never, these female teacher predators are never ugly? They're always attractive.
Listen, that's every 16-year-old boy's dream.
Well, it turned out that the way that she got caught was his friends. His friends told. First of all, lady predators, kids can't keep secrets, you idiots.
Right. Especially if the kid's banging the hot teacher. I mean, there's no way
brag.
There's no way he's not telling his friends about that.
They're not mature, you morons.
Oh, man.
Oh, my. It's like she's expecting the maturity of an adult who has discretion from a child. It's ridiculous.
Wow. Way to go.
Stupid.
All right. So what is it like the case is pending? Has she been charged?
No,
she's
pending.
Been convicted yet? Or?
No, she hasn't been convicted yet. She's still pending charges. She got fired, of course.
Oh,
yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
So throw your career out the window as well.
Yeah.
Not to mention you probably won't be able to get a job doing anything else, except for maybe you could drive an ice cream truck.
Oh, no. No, she'll be able to get a job doing something, but it's not going to be something she likes, probably.
Well, someone like that's in the news for something like that. Employers kind of like.
Because then she's going to be a sex offender registered. They're going to have to
That's
watch where they live,
yeah.
what she does, all that business.
Right. So, when you go and interview for a job, that's the first thing they do is look into your criminal background. And if your list as a sex offender is going to be you might not be the number one candidate on the list of, applicants.
I think that Mary Kay Letourneau and Billy blah, 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 long last name, are still married and together, and they've got some kids.
Well,
yeah, I'll never understand that one.
You know what the irony in the whole thing is that the kid is 2 years away from being an adult at 16. I mean, you hear like when you
technically
when these teachers technically that's all that matters. So in a court of law, she wouldn't have been able to be hit with statutory rape charges, right? So because he would be considered an adult. So at 16, but then when you hear about these cases to where like the teacher's having sex, like with the one you just mentioned, the kid was like 13 or 14.
Yeah, he was. I think he was 13.
He was 13.
So, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Barely sprouted the first couple of nut hairs. You know what I'm saying? In fact, maybe not even yet.
Oh God.
Yeah, just a little peach fuzz.
Yeah, and she was so pretty too. I gotta say. I mean, I don't know what the attraction was because again, I say like they're children and they're so immature that I don't see where there could be like a personality attraction because it's a child. So I mean, like you at 16 looked like a full-grown 25-year-old man. I could see a teacher looking at you and wrecking her career to be with you.
We were just looking at some pictures the other day, right? Because I started weightlifting very early, like around 13. I've been wrestling since I'm 6, and by the time I was
16, right?
Well, yeah, probably 14, 15, very developed. And
fully muscular, fully man-looking.
First bodybuilding competitions at 17 and then up. And I think you saw some pictures of some of my bodybuilding competitions back when I was still a teenager.
He looked like a full-grown man.
You were like, there's no way that you're 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, so I could see that happening, but that kid Villy at the time, that wasn't even like a good-looking kid, like for a kid, I guess. I don't know. He didn't look like he was older, and he didn't look like a good-looking older person to be. I just didn't see that attraction.
Well, evidently they had something there more than just physical because they're still together.
They're soulmates,
right? Yeah, still. I mean, it's crazy.
Seriously.
So, not to say that it can't happen, but it's like there are laws against those things.
Yeah, just
which
gross.
I guess they were like, hey man, this is it, this is the one. So we're gonna throw caution to the wind and law aside, and let's do it anyway. And who cares what the consequences?
Did I tell you I had some teacher, some like substitute teacher that used to hit on me and one of my my friends, and when I was like a freshman in high school, there was a guy. He was a coach. He was a football coach. And he used to also substitute in the school, substitute teach.
Oh yeah, we had.
But he was a football coach.
Too.
Yeah, so
they would substitute for like the health class. And
and he used to always wear those football shorts. The ones I'm talking about.
No, not the tight, like the polyester.
Yes. He used to wear those shorts.
They basically look like football pants, but cut off real short.
Yes.
Real short, just below the sack.
Right. And he used to wear those shorts, and he had this big, what are those mustaches called? Like, Captain Kangaroo.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah?
He had
the long...
like it went down the sides, kind of.
Like a Fu Manchu type
of
stash?
Well, not Fu Manchu, but, like it went down the sides.
Right.
So anyway, he used to hit, I used to stay after school because I was trying to get involved in sports. I wasn't really very good. And so I ended up trying to go in the weight room and lift some weights. That's when I first got started into my love of that sport. And he used to be in there with the football team training. Right. And I don't remember, we became acquainted. And then he got my phone. I always have like my own phone. I don't know, but he was just used to always be hitting on me. I remember at some point he was
calling you,
and he took me. We went out like after school.
What?
Yeah, in his car. He took me like we used to just nowhere specific. I think we used to just like sit at the end of a dead end street and sit in the car and talk and stuff.
Well, this story's getting really interesting right now.
Yeah. Well, no, we never did anything though. We never. I cannot say with 100% certainty that I do not remember if we kissed. I don't remember. I know we didn't do anything else. I don't even remember if we kissed, but I do know that he used to take me out alone in his car. I was like 15.
What?
Yeah, and he was like in his late 20s. I think he was about 28 at the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Substitute teachers.
Yeah. So he used to always, and then, oh God, and then after we moved kick you. After we had moved from one town to another, because in my senior year, I went to a different high school. He actually came by my house, where we lived. Like he came to my house to see me. At some point. It was so long ago, I don't remember the details of everything, but he definitely pursued me, and I was like young, like for a couple of years he came to try and pursue me. And then later on, talking to another girl who I was friends with, he was apparently doing the same thing with her. He was pursuing her hard too.
Wow.
Yeah, so we ended up telling our moms like much later on. He was already working in a different school district at that point, one like where you and I like to frequent, like where we're going to dinner tonight. That school district, he ended up working over there, and I heard that there were some complaints about him over there as well.
Yeah, I would imagine that there would be complaints.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, if he was pursuing my daughter like that, he would no longer have a teaching career or a life.
Or a penis.
Yeah. No.
And both me and my friend who he was also going after, both of us were two of the girls in our classes who we developed very early. Like we were the ones who got like boobs really quickly. Like, we always looked older than we were at the time,
right.
you know, and yeah, so he definitely, that happens.
Wow.
Yep. And
that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
To know that there are teachers out there like that preying on your children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And well, you know, your parents are out working after school. They don't, you know, they can't be around all the time to know exactly what you're doing. So, I mean, it happened to me. I told you about that time I went hitchhiking. That guy picked me up.
Yeah.
And he had like some small kid in the car, like his nephew or something he had to drop off. And he's like, I just got to drop him off first. And it turned out to be way the fuck in the other direction of where I needed to go.
Right.
And after he dropped off the kid, he decided to show me how big his dick was.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you get for hitchhiking.
I know. I was like totally shocked that I got out of that one without getting raped.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do not hitchhike. No one should hitchhike. They have Uber now.
Yeah, because
well, you're also talking like 30 years ago, so like people used to hitchhike back then.
Yeah, because at the time I think I didn't have, or I was in trouble or something, so my mother wouldn't let me use the car. I couldn't have the car, and I wanted to go see my boyfriend at the time, like all the way up at the gym, and then, you know, like he was a dick, so he didn't drive me home, so then I had to walk back home. It was, you know, all those plights of youngsters.
Wow. Yeah, young people are faced with a lot of challenges.
Yeah. I was like, if you're okay, so you don't want to let me do something, I'll find another way.
Yeah, teachers trying to do them, guys driving around, picking them up and giving them free rides and showing them their junk.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Drugs, alcohol. Yeah.
So anyway.
It's great being a teenager.
Yeah. So here's some more fun stuff that went on in a school. This Georgia school, this is awesome. I didn't even know that this existed. This Georgia mother had secretly recorded on her phone an elementary school teacher that had paddled like with a paddle hit her kid. Now what had happened was
the teacher hit her child?
Yes.
In class?
No, in their office. Now, what had happened, apparently, the backstory is that the kid had been absent like about 13 times for doctor's appointments that the mother didn't get a note, could have gotten a note. They would have been excused absences, but so she got charged with truancy, the mother. So that, you know, for not having her kid be in school as much as he was supposed to. So she got in trouble. So then the kid was bad in school. What did he do? He hit somebody and he spit on somebody else, and they wanted to punish him with a paddling. So what they said to the mother was,
"What is this fucking medieval times? Who like paddles students in school?" Like,
well, so listen to this. So they told the mother.
What am I hearing right now?
They told the mother that if she didn't let the kid get the paddling, that he would have to be suspended. And if he got suspended for even one day, that she would go to jail for truancy.
Where the hell is this?
Georgia. So the mother's thinking, like, I can't go to jail or else my kids don't have anything. So she had to allow them to do this. So now she's in the office, in like the principal's office with like what looked like the principal and another person of authority in the school. And the mother is pretending to be texting. The kid is over by this chair with the two ladies. Like he wants to go like sit in the chair. They're like, no, you're not going to sit in the chair. You're going to get paddled. And he's screaming like, Mommy, help me. And they're like trying to get him to stand still, and cause he's trying to cover his ass with his hands, you know, so he doesn't get hit. And they're trying to like put him in position so that the other one can paddle him. And the principal's going, you're going to get paddled.
And the mother is allowing this to go on
because she's afraid to go to jail. They threatened her that she was going to go to jail if the kid got suspended. And she didn't allow them to paddle him.
Oh, I'd be like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to go to jail because I'm going to take that paddle and beat the living hell out of both of you right now.
Yeah.
And then I'll gladly go to jail.
Yeah. Well,
that's what's going to happen.
So these two
that's
ladies.
The way this is going down.
So this kid is like, I mean, the horror that this kid is hysterical. He's frightened. He's yelling for his mommy to help him. And she's like, she is not. She's in the room. She's like, I'm just texting. She's making like she's texting, but she was actually recording, which is why she was using her telephone. But these two women like forced the kid to like into a position where they could spank him with a paddle. And what the best part of all of this is that it's legal in that jurisdiction because corporal punishment is apparently allowed in lots of jurisdictions across the country. So what they did was not illegal. They were allowed to hit kids in some schools.
Wow.
But I'm just thinking about the trauma to the kid. Think about how later on in life that your mother stood by and allowed people to hit you and not being protected, and that people like that aren't your family are like holding you and forcing you to get hit. Think about the fucking trauma alone. Right. I don't care what the kid did. That is gonna fuck that kid's gonna turn out to be some kind of a criminal murderer or what. It's gonna fuck him up, but good.
The whole topic of like how to discipline your kids has been one that's obviously a big topic, forever. And you can go way back when to the days when, everybody used to smack their kids. And now it's like, you hit your kid and your kid's on the iPhone that you paid for them at 5 years old, and they're calling their attorney.
Yep.
Yep. And next thing you know, you're getting arrested. So times have definitely changed. And I think that everybody has their own opinion on how to discipline their children, and I got news for you. Some kids probably need a good beating every now and then.
Absolutely.
All right, but the other side of that, no teacher should be doing that. Mm-hmm. Okay, if your kid needs to be disciplined, however it is that you choose to do it, whether or not you agree with some sort of physical punishment or you want to lock them in their room or ground them or whatever. That's a whole other issue that we don't need to get into right now. What is serious, though, is that these teachers, from what you're saying, by law are legally allowed to paddle these kids. And could you imagine being in the room and watching your kid get beaten and then be threatened with arrest if you didn't allow it to happen? Mm-hmm. What the hell is going on in this world?
Georgia and 18 other states in the South, Southwest, and Midwest allow corporal punishment. And it says that the Supreme Court ruled in Ingram versus Wright case of 1977 that the spanking of kids in schools does not violate the Constitution's ban on cruel and unusual punishment or the right to due process.
Wow.
Yep. So they were within their legal rights to hit the kid, and the mother having to go through the threat of jail to what? I can't even imagine that whole scenario.
Yeah, so picture that. Picture you get called down to the school because your kid's in trouble, and then you are forced to watch your kid get beaten.
Yeah, you can find that video online, actually.
I gotta laugh, man. I just like that. I don't even.
And I'm not really one for like. I'm not one of those. Oh, kids. But to see this kid, the terror, like, and him screaming for his mother, and she wouldn't go help him or get him out of it. It was.
Well, like I started to say before,
pretty.
Without getting too into the whole topic of how to discipline your kids, kids obviously have a greatly reduced respect for adults anymore. It's a different world out there with kids right now. They have no work ethic. They have very little discipline, very little respect for adults. And if you have one that does have respect for adults, you're raising them properly. And however you're doing it, keep doing it, because a lot of kids just don't today. So that being said, everybody used to discipline their kids like that back in the day, and now it's like, if you hit your kid, you're a criminal. Okay, like I just said to you, your teachers should not be allowed to do that. That should be a job for the parent. The parent should be disciplining their kid. Right. And the fact that there is any place that would force a parent to watch their child be beaten, otherwise be threatened with arrest, to me that sounds like I can't agree with that.
Yep.
So.
Well, speaking of...
What are your thoughts on that, people?
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Imagine getting that phone call down to the principal's office. No. Hey, we're just inviting you to witness the beating of your son.
Or you'll go to jail.
Yeah, or your daughter. Right?
So I found this cool
Holy
thing
crap.
kind of related to school stuff that I found amusing. It made me feel pretty old, but it's I guess if you're over 30-something, you might enjoy this little tidbit of stuff I found online. Stuff that used to go on in schools like in the 80s that is no longer because of the way that things have changed so freaking much. Remember when they used to have stuff like giving Valentines to your classmates and stuff, Right. So, and you used to like, if there was somebody you liked, you would give them a Valentine,
Right,
you know.
sure.
But now in the age of not wanting anybody to feel bad, you know, it's like they don't do that anymore because you have to either give one to everybody or to no one.
Right.
So they don't do that from what I'm hearing anymore.
I can remember being a kid and there was like an arts and crafts day to when like
Right.
you made Valentines to bring home to your mom or your dad or whoever, and then also you could make one, for
Right,
your classmates
right.
and wow.
Yeah, but you know, like the ugly kids aren't getting any.
Yeah, you
so.
can't offend anyone now.
Yeah,
so.
no. So you can't do that anymore. So that one is should be dead and gone.
I'm surprised they didn't attach some religious nonsense to that also, because Valentine is basically a day celebrated for Saint Valentine, which Catholics and Christians will know about. I don't know. I mean, obviously everybody kind of uses it as a holiday to, to find romance and all that stuff. But I'm surprised with going that far and tagging it with being, offensive to some, why they didn't even jump on the whole religious platform, They
Right.
throw that at everything too.
Seriously, right? Oh, this is a good
Not fair
one.
to my religion.
This is a good one. Making ashtrays in art class.
Wow!
Right?
Yeah.
I did it.
We used to have the clay sculpting, and they put it into the kiln and fire up like a little coffee cup. Or kids used to make ashtrays.
Yep. And now it's like, of course, that's like promoting, cigarette smoking, and there's no way. No
Right.
fucking way anymore.
Well, you're talking about back in the day, like when you went home and you had the family dinner and you actually sat down at the dinner table, which no one does anymore either. Like, Dad had an ashtray on the table and was smoking at the dinner table. Like, this thing smoked everywhere.
Yeah, my
right?
mom smoked. I made the ashtray.
Everybody smoked everywhere.
Yeah, my ashtray actually had a cat's head attached to it. I sculpted a cat head and attached it to the ashtray. It was pretty cute.
What else? What else you got?
The gender-specific classes. So remember, it used to be really, back when I was in school, pretty much, mostly shop was boys. And I don't even think that there was boys in the home ec class that I can recall. But now they're like totally about sharing all the gender stuff. And
Right.
all the classes are pretty much shared by both sexes.
Isn't there some gender stuff going on with the bathrooms now too?
Oh God, that's a whole other thing. Yeah, like with the how you
In
identify.
schools also now too,
Yeah.
right? So there's a boys' room, a girls' room. Is there some sort of like half and half?
I don't know. I think every jurisdiction has different rules
is there a
on
he-she
that.
room now?
I don't know. Dodgeball.
Oh, I love dodgeball.
Okay, well,
I
apparently,
love like running right up to the line and blasting someone in the head with the ball.
yeah. Well,
and you hear that bong, that sound that ball used to
well,
make with the
they're
air in
getting
it.
rid of that because it's like considered violent and cruel, and pretty much if you're like a weakling, you're gonna get the shit kicked out of you with that
Which,
ball.
by the
You're
way,
a
pretty
target.
much all kids are right now. Like we were just talking about, like, what? Listen, you saw pictures of me when I was a teenager. I wasn't the only one in my
Yeah.
class that was developed like that. All the kids on my wrestling team. I mean, I was definitely exceptionally developed, but I remember back, like, there was a lot of muscular kids back then. Like, kids were like, to me, bigger and stronger. Like, I guess it's because kids are like now. They're like, on their iPads and their phones and shit. Like, we were in the gym, man. All we we just wanted to get big, We wanted to get strong.
Well,
Kids don't
dodgeball is
think like that now.
it's like permissive physical abuse, basically.
Yeah.
Like
but
you're
that's the
allowed
whole-
to hit somebody.
But that's the whole point.
That's why they're getting rid of it.
See, they're taking all the good shit away.
Okay, playing Cowboys and Indians. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's like so politically incorrect now.
We were using real bows and arrows.
And plus, like with guns too. I mean, like
we used to chase each other around with our BB guns, which kids don't have anymore either. We all every kid in my neighborhood had BB guns, and
well, that's part of this whole thing. Is that
Yeah.
first of all, the having shooting anybody with any kind of gun,
Right.
like a water gun or a cap gun or whatever, and then also the whole thing with the American Indians. To be playing a game where you're having like a cowboy kill the Indian.
because it
Not politically
it might
correct.
offend the Indians.
Not politically correct.
Right. Well, back then, the Lone Ranger was on TV, so
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. So that's all. No more.
Wow, how fucking old are we? I forgot.
60. I'm 60. You're 63.
You are not. She's lying.
Remember?
If you are, then you look damn good.
Well, I do
You
my
look
best.
damn good anyway, but for 60, wow.
Yeah.
So that would make you like not even a MILF. You would qualify to be a GILF.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a gilf.
That's a grandma.
Grandma, that what?
I think you know the rest of it.
Okay, so remember, bringing cupcakes in for birthdays. There is like such a huge, I hear this from people actually, that this really, you can't bring in sweets to school anymore, first of all, because there's always somebody allergic to something, or somebody doesn't want their kid to have sugar, or they're making them be gluten-free, or, just like they don't want these sweet snacks in school anymore.
Right.
So like parents are now like not able to give their kids the things that they used to bring into school. Remember, like we used to have like everything in school.
Yeah.
And I used to bring it with me. Bags of M&Ms, and I remember they even had, for a while, they had vending machines with all that sweet junk in it,
we had soda machines and vending machines, and that was like a big thing when the school got vending machines. Everybody was like, "Oh, cool!" And then like you could have your own money and buy what you want between classes and stuff.
Yeah, they can't have sweet sugars in like this soda anymore. No more soda.
So everybody now is something free, like with nut allergies and soy and gluten and lactose intolerant. Like what? We just became like a world of pussies. Like, we can't you can't do anything. You can't say anything. You can't hit your kid. You can't, like, what is going on?
So do you remember back around like
your teachers are banging your kids, and if the teachers aren't banging your kids, they're beating them up with paddles and you have to watch.
Yep.
What is the world coming to?
Yep. Do you
I
remember
wonder if Donald Trump is going to fix any of these things.
Do you remember learning about Thanksgiving and how you used to either make like a paper, like the headdress, like the Indian headdress, or you used to come in dressed like a pilgrim?
Yeah.
Yeah. No more of that, because now it's offensive because of, when you actually learn about the whole culture of what happened and how they came.
We just came and slaughtered all the male Indians and pillaged all the female Indians and raped and killed them all and then took their land.
Yeah, so...
And then we offered them like $1 for the city of Manhattan.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a good deal.
No more of that. Do you remember the days of art supplies and sniffing all the things that they used to supply to us that were sniffable?
People are fun.
Whiteout, glue. Do you remember sniffing all that stuff? Like,
no, I don't.
Actually, I was never a sniffer, but like they used to provide those things to us that were like highly toxic.
All this stuff. Yeah.
I mean, you've of course smelled it to realize, what the fuck is wrong with this thing?
Well, I think it was like airplane glue, like the model glue, right? Because when I was a kid, like we used to make like model cars, and I don't know if you remember that, but they had like kits you could buy like in the hobby store. There's no hobby stores anymore either. There was a huge hobby store like one town over from where I grew up, and everybody used to go there, and you could buy like all kinds of models to build, and that's like back when people were like making the model rockets with a little like the engines that ignited with a battery and they fly the parachute.
I did that too.
All that, but the model glue that you used to use, it used to come in a little squeeze tube.
Oh, it was so strong.
That stuff, that smelled really strong, and you would get totally wasted on that shit.
Well, I didn't smell it that much.
Oh yeah, all those glue, spray paints, all those things that like now it's all like VOC, limit VOC, and all the things that used to get you high don't get you high anymore.
Right. I used to have them right in school.
Did I ever tell you the story when I was in Depot? They found it. They have all the tool sheds outside, like on display in the parking lot. Usually in Home Depots, especially this time of the year, people want to buy sheds, so they have like like on display. They're assembled, whatever. They found this guy that was out in the tool shed, and he had come into the store and he stole a bunch of cans of the compressed air, like the stuff that you use to clean your keyboards.
Oh, people huff with that.
Yeah, evidently there's something in that stuff that gets you really wasted. And he was out there in one of the sheds, laid out in the shed with like about 20 of those cans all over the floor, where he had huffed all these cans of compressed air.
Okay, knives. Do you remember? Like pocket knives.
Yeah.
Do you remember, like, everybody had a pocket knife, like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts.
Right.
I used to bring, I had a pocket knife that I used to whittle.
Like a Swiss Army knife?
Yeah.
You used to whittle?
I used to whittle.
My grandfather used to whittle, like on his front porch in a rocking chair, for real.
Oh,
he'd like whittle like a branch of like a tree and like, turn it into something.
Well, that used to be okay to bring to school.
What?
Not so much anymore.
I don't remember ever being able to bring a knife to school. Like a pocket knife even?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I don't remember ever there being a big to-do about bringing a pocket knife. I mean, like, and I'm not talking like, like a dagger or a machete.
Well, you used to be able to bring a pocket knife on a plane. You're not bringing that anywhere now, right?
Yeah. See, so not anymore. This is another big one that is a big to-do today that didn't used to be. Walking to school, like without a parent.
You can't walk anywhere right now if you're a kid. Right?
Yeah.
You need like an armored escort wherever you go.
Yeah, I used to walk from my house to my elementary school. It was at the end of my block was the entrance to the field that was the back of the school. And it was a pretty decent walk, but we used to, me and the kids on my block used to all walk to school together, no parents.
Yeah, I used to walk or take a bike. And it was a pretty good walk.
Yeah, and now
definitely a good bike ride.
Parents are getting like arrested for having their kids walk alone or be playing alone without a parent present. There's all kinds of like crazy arrests going on in the country just because a parent is not present, like even on their block.
Yeah.
So,
we used to take our bikes everywhere, like towns over, like miles and miles away.
Yeah.
Like our friends who live in the next town over. It was like be home when the street lights come on, like no cell phones. Like parents didn't even know where you were. You were out playing in the woods somewhere or whatever. It's just such a different time.
Totally different. I had at 6.
Now there's like GPS tracker locators like embedded in the back of your kid's neck.
I had a key.
Dog chip.
I went home by myself and opened the door. 6 years old. I came home from school, let myself in, and stayed home. 6 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So do you remember back in the day when you were in elementary school and you would sit with your legs crossed? What was that called? What style?
Oh, like Indian style?
Yeah. They don't call it that anymore. It's politically incorrect, apparently.
Oh, well, everything is politically incorrect.
Yeah.
What is it called now?
Now it's called sitting with your legs crossed. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God. Did you ever have a tether ball?
Yes. I had a tether ball pole in our backyard.
Yeah.
As a kid. Yeah.
That's dangerous.
That's dangerous.
Anything that you could use to hit your fellow classmate with intentionally, even if it's a game, is dangerous. Don't climb trees anymore. Wow. Bad. But there was a potential to get hurt if you climb a tree.
Oh,
bad news.
God.
Bad news. A lot of schools have actually put in a no tree climbing policy that actually exists. It exists. Remember when you would have to line up like according to your gender, like if you were to have like a fire drill or if there'd be like, like in a gym class or whatever, you'd have to like line up.
Right.
Like now they're like not doing that gender stuff anymore. It's not like.
It was like all the boys in one line, the girls in another line.
Because now these, of course, people identify as something else, or there's kids who actually don't want to be like girls who don't want to be called a girl or boys who prefer to hang out with the girls, like, you know what I mean? So they're taking away those stigmas.
Well, all thanks to Caitlyn Jenner.
In part, not thanks to, in part. But also, do you remember in gym class?
Thanks, Caitlyn.
In gym class, picking teams. No more of that anymore, really, because nobody wants to be the one who's not picked. So you always end up with a kid with bad feelings.
So we were picking teams like on the dodgeball, which you can't do anymore either. Right? There'd be like 2 team captains and you'd pick out, right? So
all the weaklings get picked last. So it's almost like a form of bullying in that you're like basically making the whole kid look in front of the whole class like they're a big wimp.
Wow.
No more of that business.
This is really taking all the fun out of going to school.
Yeah, I know. It's I feel I'm hearing Edith in the back of my head going, "Those were the days." Right? Oh, you know what's another one is that they don't do anymore is that you used to call the women teacher either Mrs. or Miss if they were married or not. Like
what do you do now?
Ms. Everybody's Ms. Doesn't matter if you're married or not. Ms. is politically correct.
Really?
Yeah. They don't have that so much so anymore in schools. It's Ms.
It's so many rules.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot to remember, I guess.
Yeah, and then you throw in all the new math and everything they got going on with kids now, the Common Core, and it's pretty much just a total shit show.
It's like you don't know what to tell your kid to do.
You know what? I have a solution. Just homeschool. That's it.
That's not such a bad idea.
Homeschool your kids. Yeah.
Unless you
don't have to worry about the teachers trying to molest them or, pick them up after school, get their phone number, or get abducted on the way to school. You don't have to worry about your kid getting smashed in the head with a dodgeball or getting, tetherballed. Or climbing a tree. Just think you can keep your kid inside with a hockey helmet on, full body armor, and you can school them yourself without fear of anything going wrong.
Well, you know what? As far as that whole Common Core
thing. But don't hit
them,
though. Don't hit them.
No.
Don't hit your kid.
Do not hit them. With that whole Common Core thing, though, you can't even help your kids do their homework anymore because you don't know how to do it.
Fuck no. Are you kidding me?
It's like it makes absolutely no sense. It's like you have to actually learn, and with full-time job, supporting your family, and having to take care of all the kids, how are you supposed to help them with their homework if you don't know how to do it? So what, now you're supposed to go and learn how to do it too? To help them do their homework? That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no more 2 + 2 = 4, by the way. Like, those days are over.
Nope. And remember back when you used to leave school for lunch?
Yeah.
No more of that business. They're not letting kids leave now, leave the school premises, because that just leads to some kind of trouble, potential for accidents. They might not come back. What are they going to do? Kids out smoking weed, whatever.
We had like a pizza place down the block, like, at lunch hour, we could I think it was only, once you get to high school, though, I think there was a certain grade that you were allowed to do that. Before that, you had to go to the cafeteria or, bring your own lunch or go to the cafeteria or whatever. But then at a certain point, you were allowed to leave the school property and go down the street or whatever. You had your lunchtime to do whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of kids, they just don't come back. Especially when you get like permission, you're okay
because
to
they're
leave.
Out hanging out with the substitute teacher.
Right. Exactly, right? None of that.
Yeah.
No more of that. They got to keep them all in one place where they know that they're all safe and sound. So that was what I was going to talk about with schools.
Man. Right.
Yeah.
That is a lot of changes.
Yeah, nothing's the same anymore.
Changes to the whole school system and the whole experience.
Yes.
Right now.
Yes.
Wow.
I've got one more news story that I found pretty disturbing. There is this guy, and it's what was it? The Daily News. Jesus Gutierrez faces 2 misdemeanor charges: torturing an animal and sexual conduct with an animal. So all that's disturbing. But what's even more disturbing is that this guy raped his girlfriend's Maltese. Yeah. It's a small dog.
I don't even know what to say to some of this stuff. Like,
yeah. So
you just have to. You gotta laugh. You gotta.
No, you don't have to laugh. You have to.
What is
scream.
wrong with people?
So what caught my eye about this particular article was.
Wait a second, though. He raped the Maltese.
Yes, both digitally and genitally. Yeah. So, and it was, the girlfriend caught it on, she set up a camera and caught it on film. So for like a half an hour, he violated the dog, which is, the dog was in distress, obviously.
Maltese is a pretty small dog.
Very small dog. So,
just use your imagination on that one. I'm just saying, like, I don't know how that's even physically possible.
He blamed it on being intoxicated, which, not a good excuse. Sorry. Can't say that that's still a normal thing to do, even when you're intoxicated, and to even have that thought cross your mind. I don't think that most people have that thought cross their mind when they're intoxicated.
Nope.
I mean, I don't drink, I don't know, so I really can't say, but I'm going to guess that's not a thing that people think about. But what his attorney said was that he's a father to 6 children and a hardworking man. Fathering 6 children doesn't make you a father. That makes you a sperm donor. That means that you're somebody who hasn't used protection.
Right.
Anybody can father 6 children.
Right.
If you're a male, you've got sperm, you don't get credit. You don't get like extra credit for fathering 6 children, and that doesn't make you a good guy, and that doesn't make you any less culpable for this offense. Like, really, that's how you're going to defend him, to say that he's a father to 6 children?
Right.
No. Sorry.
All with one baby mama, or is there 6 baby mamas?
I don't know, and quite frankly, I don't even think it makes a difference. That having kids doesn't mean, it doesn't say anything about your personality at all. It means nothing. And that's all you can come up with. I think that's actually living to say that he's got really no redeeming qualities.
How is that any defense to him raping the dog?
No, I don't know. I don't know. But you know what really disappoints me is
bring
that...
that up in court. But he's fathered 6 children.
He was charged with misdemeanor torturing of an animal and sexual conduct with an animal. And again, with this whole thing with people doing bad things to animals, it's so not taken seriously enough in the world, like that. It's such a low level of crime, and then those get reduced, and it's just like people aren't really held accountable for the horrible things that they do because society doesn't consider it as much of a big deal, or they're not putting enough time or attention to it. It's so.
But we're spending plenty of time changing all the other rules and making sure that the kids can't stay out after dark or play dodgeball or tetherball or climb trees, or you can't sit Indian style or. Give a Valentine's Day Valentine in school.
Don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we all turned out okay, though.
But
Despite the fact that we were able to do those things.
How about instead of lawmakers spending time changing that stuff, how about you spend some time figuring out what to do with people that bang your Maltese? Because really, to me, it's I
know it's awful. I mean, I can't imagine that that's a misdemeanor, and that if he has no other criminal record, it'll probably get knocked down. Well, it's just
the laws definitely need to change with regards to what to do with people that abuse animals in any way, because it's really. Yeah, it's just there's a lot of bad stuff going on out there that we hear. You read about all the time, and.
And I can guarantee you he wasn't thinking about, I might go to jail for this while he was doing it, because, that's not really a very popular sentence for people who harm animals, really, if you think about it. People usually get some kind of a crappy fine, or community service, or if that, you never hear about people actually getting a severe sentence for doing some heinous crimes to animals. Yeah. You just don't. It's not anything that is popular. So, yeah, that's disgusting. Anyway, so do you happen to have any tips? Because
I do.
It's not Tuesday, but you are Skip, and it rhymes with tip. So I was just wondering.
Yeah, well, that's enough for me. Yeah, that's all I need right there.
Yeah, I was wondering if you can share with anybody.
I do. Yeah, I have a Skip's tip.
When helping people with their homes, they call Skip Bedells.
You want to avoid a headache and save money? He's the man to talk to. Skip Bedells.
Okay.
And this time of the year, it's spring and the nice weather's coming, and we're all moving outside and getting back into our routines of outdoor entertaining and on our decks and patios and busting out the power washers and all that kind of stuff. And if you have a paver patio, chances are that you have some weeds coming up between the pavers, or you got some moss growing, or you got insects. Ants love to come up between those things, and you see little mounds of sand all over your paver patios. Chances are also that a lot of the sand that was between all those paver joints has now kind of degraded and washed away over the years, either by rain or from you scrubbing or power washing off the patio. So what can you do about it? All right, so there's a product out there called polymeric sand. And polymeric sand basically is a type of sand that you brush into between your paver patio joints, just like you would do with regular, fine grade sand that helps lock the paver patios in place and stabilize them. However, the polymeric sand has an additive to it. And basically what that does is it hardens once it comes in contact with water, and it makes that a sealed joint now. A big difference from regular sand. It does a lot of great things. Basically, it prevents any weeds from coming up between the pavers. It prevents insects from getting between them. It won't wash out between the pavers when you wash or power wash the patio. It comes in a lot of different colors. So how you can put this into your patio? First of all, you're going to want to get the old sand out, because it's important that you have a full joint there. You have the full depth, at least 1.5 inches down, cleared out between each paver patio, that you can get the new sand into. So that's going to require you guys busting out the power washer. If you don't have one, you can rent one from your local home store, hardware store, tool rental, whatever. You're going to want to wash out all the old sand from between your joints, trying to not blast out the dirt below it, and which is going to create a loose spot between the pavers, but just blowing out all the loose sand that's in between them. Once you do that, which by the way is kind of a messy job, it's going to create sand piles and mud kind of everywhere. You're going to need to get that surface clean, brush it all off, let it all dry out. Once it's all dry and you have clean joints, you can go back and take one of these polymeric sand brands. There's a couple of different brands out there that I recommend. You can look into Quikrete. That's Quikrete, Krete, or SureBond makes a product called PolySweep. There's a bunch of different ones out there. You can look up online and find who carries what, at your local stores. But what you want to do is after you power wash the old sand out, you're going to want to sweep in this new sand. So just like you put in the original sand, pour it out over your pavers. You're going to sweep it in with a brush, like a big stiff bristle broom. And after you sweep that all in and it disappears down into the cracks, this is an important thing that a lot of people don't think to do. You want to have a power compactor, which means most people don't have one of them in their tool arsenal. I don't have one.
You rent one at Home Depot?
Yeah, you're going to want to go rent one at your local wherever. And you've seen them. It's a gas-operated motor. They also make electric ones, but basically it's like a big power tamper. And you're going to want to run that vibrator across the pavers, and it's going to settle all the sand down into the joints. Then you go back and you re-sand it again, which a lot of people don't think to do this, and they wonder why the next season their sand is all soaked down into the paver joints and they can't see it anymore. It's because they didn't really pack the joints full to begin with. After you compact it, go back and re-sand it again, sweep it all in, and then go over it with a compactor again until you see. Yep. You want to repeat this process. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 times until the joint is completely full. Now, it's important that you get sand all the way up to the top of the joint, leaving about 1/8 of an inch of space to the top of the joint. So right where that joint starts to bevel down is about where you want to stop your sand level, almost to the top of the paver, about 1/8 of an inch shy of the top. Now, how you activate this is with water. Now you go back with a hose and you spray over the whole patio. Now, usually they recommend that you spray in maybe 10 to 20 foot area that you can work. Basically, you can work back and forth with that sprayer. You spray it for about 30 seconds. The water hits this material, and the water activates all the polymers in the sand. And basically, it's an additive that when it reacts with water, it starts to get hard. And after you do this, you spray it for about 30 seconds. You go back, and if there's any pooling on top of the patio, you take a squeegee, and you kind of work all that water down into the joints. You can go back and spray it again a second time to make sure that everything has been sprayed and squeegeed into the joints. And it's important that you do one section at a time so you're not trying to work out the whole patio at once. Work the water across the pavers and get it down into the joints. Once you do that and you get that whole thing washed off and you get it all clean, what you're going to have, the end result is you're going to have sanded joints, but it's going to get hard. And that's going to keep the weeds from coming up. It's going to keep ants from coming up. It's going to keep from your blocks separating. It makes a nice hard joint. It's almost like grouting tile on a tile floor.
Are you going to do that to our patio?
Yes, absolutely, because we have sanded joints that I used bluestone dust when I did ours, which is kind of like, it almost looks like slate, but very fine granulars. And it works good in the sense that it allows water to drain down through that material. If your paver patio was installed properly and it has a pitch to it so you can get water runoff when it rains, which is really important, this product will work really well because rather than all the water seeping down through the patio, also allowing weeds to come up through it, it'll actually run off as it's supposed to do toward the low part of the patio and drain down the pitch. So check out polymeric sand. As I mentioned, some of those other brands. Those are one or two of many different brands that are out there, depending upon where you're shopping, who carries what. They all pretty much do the same thing. They cost about 3 times more than regular sand, though. You can expect to pay about $20 to $30 for a 50-pound bag, and on that bag, it'll tell you how many square feet of paver patio it'll do. So you got to measure up and figure it out. But the bottom line is you're going to have a beautiful looking patio now because they come in a lot of different colors. It can match up to your stones.
Colors.
It'll make your patio look like brand new. Of course, power wash the whole thing first. Get all the stains off it. If you need to use a cleanser first to get any grease stains off, get it all ready before you do this because once you seal this stuff in there, it's sealed in.
Oh.
All right.
Super.
Polymeric sand. Check it out, people.
Super.
Yep. Make your patio look like new.
Okay. We actually had a question from somebody on Facebook. Peter Grunwald asked about how to add a hood vent.
A hood vent, we're talking about an exhaust hood like over a stove?
A stove vent hood.
Okay, well, first thing you're going to want to do is measure the width of your stove. A standard size range top stove is 30 inches. Of course, they make them in different sizes, 36, 48 commercial style. But chances are you have a 30-inch wide stove. So that's going to be your starting point. You want to get a hood that's going to be at least as wide as your stove. If you don't have upper cabinets above your stove, I don't know what you have there. So There's different ways to mount these things, either to the wall above the stove, and you can check with your local building codes there as far as, and also check on the manufacturer of the actual hood. They will recommend the height in which it should be mounted above that stove based upon the actual amount of air that the unit is moving. So you'll check the CFM on that unit, and that's going to tell how much air the fan is actually moving, and then they'll recommend how high that unit should be.
What's that, cubic feet per minute?
Yes. So that's all relevant to how high that hood needs. And there's also fire codes that will dictate how high that. Typically, they're usually about 30 to 36 inches above the hood. If you go much higher than that, and also the big part of what those hoods do is they contain any flames, not only exhausting any gases and smoke and grease and things like that rise up from your cooktop, but it also contains the flame. So if you have a grease fire on your stove, it's going to keep it from going up to the ceiling and spreading throughout the whole room. That's the main purpose of the hood, in addition to exhausting all that. So there are different types of hoods. Also, the building codes call for different kinds. So if you have a gas stove, a gas range, it will require that you duct that gas and all that smoke outside. So keep that in mind if you're going over a gas stove. Most building codes require that you have ducting that will go either through the walls or through the ceiling and exit the house on an exterior wall, with like a dryer vent or that type of thing, that you can get all that smoke out of the house. If you have an electric range, most building codes locally, you can check again, will allow that you can recirculate. So if you're installing either a microwave hood combo or just a regular exhaust hood, there are models that will recirculate that air. And what they do is they pull the smoke in and they go through a filter, which is a changeable filter, and it filters out all the grease and stuff, and then it recirculates and blows that air out the top back into the room rather than outside the house. So it's all going to be relevant to what kind of stove you have there and what kind of unit that you get. Installation of these things is really not too difficult. Just follow the instructions. Either they'll be mounted to the studs or they'll come with mollies. Of course, you're going to have to supply electricity to it. So I always recommend that you get an electrician there. If you're not well-versed in electrical, you're going to have to supply power to it. So any other questions beyond what I've given you there, you can always direct message me, and I'll be happy to give you some more tips on that.
You give awesome tips.
That's my tip.
You're a tip guy.
That's my tip. What else we got? Wow. How long have we been doing this thing?
I don't know. Too long.
Are you guys sick of hearing us talk yet?
I know. I'm sick of hearing us talk.
That's it?
Yeah, there's some other things, but I wanted to save it for the next episode.
Yeah, we got Tip Tuesday coming up.
We have Tip Tuesday coming up, but we might also have a treat for Tip Tuesday if it all works out well. Actually, maybe if we record that on Tuesday, it will be for Friday's episode. Right. We are going to be having some guests for our
future podcast.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're going to be having.
We actually have some really cool guests lined up for interviews over the next few weeks and months that you guys are going to enjoy for sure.
Yeah, so we want to get this next one solid, but we anticipate having a guest, so I'm excited about that.
So stay tuned.
I'm going to save some of these other questions for Tip Tuesday.
Tip Tuesday!
All right.
So they will be answered. Fear not.
And once again, we want to thank all you guys for coming back each and every week, to all the loyal listeners who really appreciate all the support that you guys give us and all the feedback that we get on Facebook and Twitter, and all your questions, of course, which are always great. And we look forward to doing it again with you next time.
Yeah, thank you for visiting hammerandnailspodcast.com. Thank you for listening, and don't forget we love you.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.